breaking down the deals, data, and disruption shaping global markets. You're listening to The Daily Ledger with Dennis Sert.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, December 8th, 2025. This is the Daily Ledger Show, and I am your host, Dennis Sert. Good to be here with you today. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Let's go ahead and jump into the Dow Jones Industrial Average and all that, and then we'll get into a few of the stories that we have here for you here today. So, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 0.2%. The NASDAQ is up 0.31%. And the S&P 500 is up 0.01%. Okay. I want to first talk about this article from the Wall Street Journal. AI job losses are coming. Tech execs say the question, who's most at risk? So this is kind of following our theme of following the phenomenon of AI job losses, right? Especially targeting Gen Z. And apparently in Qatar, there was this Wall Street Journal Tech Live event with some like tech moguls and investors. So there's this one guy, his name's Sam Engelbard, and he was apparently one of the keynote speakers at this event, and he's like a media and technology investor who's a partner at Galaxy, the crypto-focused financial services firm. Yeah, so he's like a crypto mogul tech investor guy. And he said some interesting things during this sort of Q&A event. He talked about, here's some of the quotes, and then we'll dig into them. So he said, like once prompted, he said, it seems likely to me that we're going to enter a period of 10+% annual GDP growth, maybe higher, and a 30% unemployment, Engelbart said. We've never seen anything like this. So the theme of the event was these companies are making more and more money, but contributing to the GDP. GDP's, there's lots of GDP growth, etc. But the labor market is at the same time weakening, right? And that's what we're seeing as a result of AI. So he said that, and he said this other quote as well. So he goes, so this is the journal saying it. He dismissed the oft-repeated argument that companies will do more with their existing teams, allowing staffers to be more productive. No. If one person can do the job of 10 people with the help of AI tools, it is unlikely that companies will keep all 10 employees. Yeah, absolutely. So I had this roommate in San Francisco when I was living on Market Street, kind of near Civic Center. I had this roommate in the apartment that I was living in, and he was a software engineer at Dolby, like the audio company, like they make speakers. And he was telling me that he was on a team of 80 previously for like more than a year and a half, and 77 people were laid off, and he was one of the 3 people that were still like there at the company. And so he was pretty great. He and I were really good friends. But it really goes to show like his entire team got decimated pretty much as a result of AI. And you know what happened a few months later? His job got taken too. So that's just unfortunately the reality of what's going on. And you know what? I have a little bit more to talk about that sort of relates to this, but I want to save it for an article that we're going to talk about just in a little bit here. I want to move on to this TechCrunch article. Hinge's new AI feature helps daters move beyond boring small talk. So it goes into here. So basically, Hinge is deploying AI to help people like break the ice when they match, because apparently there's this issue where people will match, and then nobody ever breaks the ice, and then it's just kind of a dead match. Um, yeah, so they're calling it. So this new feature is following their AI-driven prompt feedback. I mean, personally, like I don't need an AI to tell me like, oh wow, you this was a good prompt. So I think that was kind of a dumb first step on Hinge's part, or Match Group. Um, and yeah, so now they're kind of making it more bold, right? Just because with the they definitely played it safe with that prompt feedback feature, right? Because you really the power of AI really comes out when it kind of directs your interactions with other users slash does the interacting with other users, which is finally what they're doing. And I don't know how much I like that, to be honest, in terms of where society is going, because I mean, you have a lot of I mean, let's just say it how it is. You have a lot of weak men out there that don't really know how to talk to women, and then, they'll match, and then, it's kind of the man's job to, somewhat drive the conversation, sort of play the masculine role, right? And it's and they won't do that. They won't know how to do that. And it's like these people shouldn't even, I mean, these weak men shouldn't really even be on a dating app. I mean, it's time to delete your account and go read a book or something, or do something else, right? Um, and what's interesting is that Hinge is trying to pander towards this demographic, um, by using AI, because the top of the crop of men are already going to be driving successful conversations with women, but um, Hinge is actively sort of pandering towards the sort of the weaker men who aren't able to drive successful conversations with women, right? By, AI, help from AI. And yeah, I mean, what's interesting about this though, just in terms of its trajectory, I think that um, a few years down the line, as this becomes more and more in the norm, it's gonna become more weird slash you're gonna stand out more as a guy, if you're not using AI to talk to women. Like at first it was cool, like, oh wow, some women were saying, oh man, I think he's using AI to talk to me, right? He's just screenshotting, putting into Chat GPT, and it was like a funny joke. I think South Park had a couple gags on that. But I think we've kind of moved beyond that. And now with this, I mean, this is kind of a signal, like Hinge basically using AI to help you like break the ice. I feel like we're kind of passing the Rubicon. Like it's not even a funny joke anymore. Now it's just like, okay, like this has become mainstream and it's kind of here to stay. Um, and yeah, so back to what I was saying though, I think it's going to be much easier to stand out, which some may say is good, some may say is bad. It's going to be easier to stand out if you don't use AI. And what I mean by that is that if you're not using AI to talk to women as a man, then you're going to be screenshotted and talked about much more in these in women's group chats, which obviously is already going on, but I'm talking about to a higher level, right? Because suddenly it's like, oh wow, look what he said, right? And it's just a non AI generated response. So I think that's going to be kind of interesting going forward. It's definitely going to change the trajectory of dating, and I wonder if other companies in Match Group like Tinder, or just other dating apps in general like Bumble are going to pick this up as well. So um, I guess enough on that. Let's move on to this new this story just came out not too long ago, about 20-ish minutes ago. Paramount makes hostile takeover bid for Warner after Netflix struck deal. Offer comes just days after the entertainment company reached a $72 billion deal with streaming giant Netflix. So here's David Ellison, right? David Ellison, he runs Paramount. And you know what? Just to recap sort of what's been going on, right? So on Friday, Netflix won the bid rather um, to acquire Warner Bros. And over the weekend, Netflix's stock went down a little bit. There were a lot of pundits online and on YouTube and on X saying that um, it's not very good that Netflix got it. Here's this TechCrunch article that says that the acquisition has already been described as sending Hollywood into, quote, a full-blown panic mode, possibly delivering a slow death to theatrical filmmaking and maybe even heralding the end of Hollywood itself, right? So basically, we have some people saying like, oh, wow, Netflix. So there are two arguments being made. One, Netflix is a tech company. Tech companies can't ever drive theatrical movies or theatrical companies, right? And the other argument is that, oh, it's too much market share, right? And so I would address both arguments by saying, okay, well, what about Amazon? Amazon Prime, they they're a tech company and they put out lots of movies, right? They put out in 2023 Air, that was released in theaters, Challengers in 2024, and Saltburn in 2023 again, which all broke even or made profit. Okay. So there's a tech company doing theatrical releases. Guess that argument's down the drain. Let's address the second one, which is that it's too much market share. Well, how about Disney, who owns Marvel, Pixar, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, and ESPN, among others? Oh, I guess that argument's down the drain too. So, you know what I really take from this in terms of like people kind of hating on Netflix for buying Warner Brothers? I think it's like the old guard that are still trying to hang on to power, right? And you kind of see that with Paramount not letting go of this deal. Like I said on Friday, right? They failed. It's okay. Like sit down, shut up, go away, right? I mean, you didn't win, right? But aside from that take, Paramount sort of represents the old guard, the sort of like the boomer generation, right? And not all boomers think like this, but many boomers think that because they've had, years of experience, they've had decades of experience, they think they're better than you. They think they're better than Gen Z people. They think they're better than tech um, software uh, engineers in the tech domain. And the fact is, no, you aren't. I'm sorry. Um, a lot of these boomers, and we see that, and this sort of ties back to what we were first talking about with the AI job losses and stuff, which is disproportionately affecting Gen Z, by the way, as we all know. The problem is that most of these boomers are making a ton of money in these pencil pushing jobs. Like they'll become a civil servant and then they'll make $130,000 to $150K, and they'll check their email like twice a year, right? And it's so bad because you have all these like software engineers who kind of get kicked off the curbside and don't really know what to do given the weakened job market. They're applying to jobs and then nobody really cares about their resume. They've done 4 years of computer science in college, and it's like, what is that even worth now? Because AI is just taking all of the white collar jobs. And it's really bad because, like I said, Gen Z is disproportionately receiving the brunt of this weak labor market. And my point here, just to tie it back to this article, it's people like David Ellison. It's companies like Paramount. It's this old guard sort of boomer mentality that's causing them not to let go. It's like, it's okay. Netflix, a tech company, which is kind of we can kind of, in this analogy, allow to be represent Gen Z and sort of the new guard. I mean, it's okay that Netflix which isn't a traditionally theatrical movie company, they're a streaming company. It's okay that they're buying Warner Bros. They gave the highest bid, okay? And that's how this works. The highest bid on time, right, wins the deal. But now that, it was a done deal, Paramount kind of after the fact said, "Oh no, we actually have a higher deal." Well, that was the point of the auction, okay? Like it's over now. So I just think this behavior is reprehensible. I mean, like I said, you can't come in after the fact and be like, "Oh no, I actually have the higher deal." No, it's done. Okay, it's it's time for Paramount to sort of go quietly into the sunset there in terms of like, I remember Paramount was really big with DVDs, like, oh wow, like back in the day, and then they tried doing Paramount Plus, and it's like no one really cares about that. So they're just, I mean, this is coming off as a desperate bid to stay relevant to me. But they're trying so hard. Like we covered the letter they sent to Warner Bros. Admin saying, "Oh no, like we should have gotten it. It wasn't fair, right?" And then now they're doing this. It's like, disgusting. But anyways, so that's enough ranting. Okay, I think that's it for what I got. Let's talk about the sponsor of the show, which of course is Byte AI Market Analysis. Byte AI is an iOS app and a web app that's a financial co-pilot for while you trade stocks. I happen to use it every day while I'm on Robinhood trading. And so basically it puts together the news sentiment for a given stock, like any of these or any of them out there, as well as technical indicators like the RSI curve, the Bollinger Bands, the MACD/signal curve. And let's just keep in mind that neither Byte AI nor I are financial advisors, and past success does not guarantee future results. That being said, let's hop into Amazon here, which is overbought. Technicals show an overbought condition, RSI at 60.5. Price sitting on the upper Bollinger Band with a narrow bandwidth. Despite modestly positive news sentiment around AI/cloud momentum, the stock has weakened, and to a lesser extent this week, indicating limited immediate upside momentum and a higher risk of mean reversion. Amazon sentiment is mixed, but modestly bullish in recent coverage. Okay, nice. Let's go to NVIDIA, which is underbought. RSI at 46 indicates underbought. Price is near the upper Bollinger Band with a very narrow bandwidth, signaling a squeeze and a potential mean reversion towards the mid band. Across the provided articles, NVIDIA sentiment is predominantly bullish to somewhat bullish. Several pieces indicate the ongoing AI infrastructure build-out and NVIDIA's leadership in AI chips as core positives, with BlackRock's AI infrastructure thesis and positive coverage of the AI hardware cycle reinforcing near-term upside. Very nice. Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and leave it there. Make sure to download Byte AI. Use the promo code podcast20 at Stripe checkout if you're accessing via the web app, and that'll give you 20% off your first month subscription. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Hope you guys make lots of money in the stock market here, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.